So in the period of the last 30 to possibly even 20 minutes, I was um, on public transportation. And I chose that method of getting around uh, because I wanted to increase the number of people I was around today. And I was next to a woman who was black, um, who, in my opinion, was pretty average in her appearance. She had a nice face. Other features didn't exactly, entertain me that much, but she's all right. If you go and if this person would come up to me and say, "Let's go hang out," I would have no objections. Um, so let me say hello to Envoy. Um, as I'm sitting there next to her, I start thinking about my account and I start thinking about the various times people have said, "Oh, well, by approaching online, what do you expect? People aren't serious and are more likely to not do anything on there." Um, so I ask her if she wants my number. She turns me down, and at that point says, "Oh, well, thank you for offering." Let me see what this Envoy says. Did you go? No, I'm explaining this. Um, but I want it to be prefaced that my entire purpose behind deciding to ask her out or ask for contacts or whatever was to defeat that claim, because in the last couple of weeks I have approached more women in person than at probably any point within the last maybe 2 to 3 years. Um, and that's been for the particular purpose of proving to myself that when I chose back in, I think it was mid 2016, to just altogether close the book on trying to go after and interact and speak with local women, it was a choice that was grounded. And sadly enough, I really wanted to believe that, maybe I've just been this blind fool who's, been shortchanging those around him, who doesn't understand the spoke and the scope rather, and the possibilities that lie in his area that are just inches and streets away from him. That instead of looking in all these different countries and states across the U.S., maybe he can actually do something over here. Um, And that was something I wondered as months passed, and I kind of saw this little bleak amount of inactivity. I said, maybe if I just go back to another strategy, um, something might be different. Now I have a video coming up on Saturday, which I intend to do intend for it to be a live stream. It might end up being a regular video depending on the amount of just things that are out of my control happening that day. But it's really meant to surmise and kind of conclude something I've pondered for quite some time, which has been around, the idea that we can't really create the same type of love and actual concern for each other on a romantic level that people had 50, 60 years ago. William says, "What's up?" Say, "What's up?" Right back. Um, hi, Thurdell. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Says, "I can't get to match on Tinder, so there's that. Had only two or three or four." Um, I mean, I don't even know how to. I'd start these streams. A lot of times, I'll have something I want to say, and then it'll get pushed out there in that first minute. Then the rest of it is me just trying to continue as I'm going along. Okay, Envoy says, "No issue with me and other girls outside my race. If you're pretty and we vibe, that's all good." Right. Well, I think it's natural for you and I and for any other person um, to want to just have someone within our own group. I actually had a user several months ago try to berate me for saying that I would prefer someone of my own ethnicity. And I had someone else come up and say, "Hey, that's not exactly insane. People have been doing that for, since the dawn of time, essentially." Um, so to have this kind of thing where you're not really getting much more attention, if any more attention, from your own group, I think is very telling. Because I've seen comments that have been critical and actually tried to frame this narrative that I'm supposedly having a lack of success because I go after people that aren't my ethnicity, even though the majority of the ones I've spoken to for prolonged amounts of time, whether that's days, weeks, or months, have been my own group. Okay, Envoy says, you know what's the issue within black community? How some people will put other on a pedestal. You know about the stereotype about, uh, yeah, I'm familiar with that, Envoy. Okay, Turner asks, are you approaching for companionship, sex, or relationship? I have made it relatively plain and clear, um, in prior videos and in every other public remark I have, that I would prefer to go on a date or some other number of meetups, and then at that point actually try to do something of a intimate nature. So I would say companionship is more likely than anything else, followed by a relationship, and obviously that leads to sex. But you know, I don't know what to tell you. You know, people actually will do have these things now where they blame. It's so funny. They know me better than I know myself. These users online, they will tell you that the reason you're having this lack of success is because people can read through the fact that you just want to have sex, even though uh, in many cases we've actually had people from other countries making that claim and ignoring the fact that if I truly wanted to just get in bed with someone, there is a wealthy stream of uh, what local escorts that are available just throughout Nevada, which is the exact next state next to mine, but whatever. Uh, okay, Justice says, to be honest, I kind of don't care about race. Maybe it's easier to be with women of same race or ethnicity, but I kind of really like they are. Why do people make as super energy detectors? Yeah, VVS. They make them appear to have some kind of extraterrestrial powers, and it's really strange because when I make these things, I've had people come after me and say, "Oh, you're generalizing," even though I've said multiple times, if you actually watch the entirety of the thing, it's not everybody. Um, so they generalize themselves more than any of us do. Let me see here. Yeah, I just made this mainly to cool off and to, I guess, blow off steam. Um, it's not necessarily the fact that people in particular don't want to do something. I don't have a desire for a person at this point. So I could, if you ask me, who are you obsessed with? Nobody, because when you've had it happen um, so many different times. Turner, let me respond to that. Okay, so Turner asked, why should he lower his standards? No, 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 I've already done that more times than I can count. So, for example, initially I would have preferred someone that had the same interests as me. That didn't happen. I prefer someone that was the same religion as me. That didn't happen. I, at one point, preferred someone that was within my state. That didn't happen. I have done nothing but lower my standards, compromise, and amend whatever criteria I thought I had for the sake of showing that I'm not some stickler for some predetermined rules a person and oftentimes has no control over. You know, I've been malleable with my willingness to court and go after certain people to where you didn't have to fit every single thing I wanted or have a number of traits that I desired to be to have me reciprocate any feelings. And that's done with the knowledge that we're not perfect and that even if someone does eventually meet most of those things, that individual who I just have no problems with is a non-entity. I just wish people around me would realize that. Okay, Heiterdell says, yes, I hate when girls believe they are so hot and get guys above their league. Um, and I'm not saying this to be funny. I have actually I know no woman, um, within my personal life or one that's out of these various singers and actors and just all the different criteria that no matter what she looks like, whether she's has anorexia or bulimia that wasn't with a man at one point or another for some prolonged amount of time. The bar for women is down here. The bar for men in many cases is up here. I'm not saying that to show that I'm not balanced, but I'm telling you what I've seen and what has been the case. I guarantee you, I could probably name 100 uh, cases or instances of women that you yourself might personally find unattractive that I could supply you pictures or photos or some other proof of them being in a relationship. And look, we have to accept that not what we want doesn't always equate to what is Death Roll 201 says, been having trouble with women since as far back as I can remember, still having trouble. I guess I just roll with it. Yeah, I have a video on Saturday that's going to really preface this because um, as bothered as I am with what happened or what's happened over the course of the last couple of weeks, where I've seen the same result from physically approaching women versus going online and talking to them. I have certainly been more bothered with just other stories relating to this, so I think we'll really get into it on Saturday. Okay, VVS says, my issue is I just feel that any type of engagement towards them just boosts their ego. I get nothing in return. Texting them or approaching them is a waste of time to me in 2018. Yeah, that was the worst. That was one of the worst parts about what I did because, and look, that woman, in my opinion, was not unattractive at all. That's why I said something to her. But I know that based off of me asking, "Hey, do you want my number?" and I even tried to frame it in a way to where it's more of a positive for you than for me. She's gonna think, "Wow, some guy just happened to say, 'Do you want my number?' Oh man, I'm so great. Oh, I don't need to worry about appealing to anybody or changing what I'm doing or anything. Just a numbers game, part of the game." I've heard that before. Hey, Mikey, tell me something that's new. I mean, that comment right there, I'm not trying to insult you or single you out, but that comment is kind of indicative of if I was talking to VVS or Anthony Turner and I started telling them about how World War II started. That's old. That's old news. We've heard this a million times now. Okay, Turner says, I dislike that I have to act tough or make crude jokes to get girls interested. It makes me feel fake, and I don't like the mountain men have to climb just to get sex and attention. Yeah, but it's not even just to get sex. We're talking about a group of guys who are saying, "Hey, I'd like to go and take you to a dinner that I'm gonna have to pay for and probably pick you up from, and basically pull all the strings for," but it's all prefaced on whether or not you say yes. So it's not about just see sex is a thing that's further in the if this goes well, that is further down the road. We're talking about them opening the door and they just keep it locked. So I get what you're saying, but it starts even further back than that. Oh, Justice, you don't know how. I can't wait until Saturday. You say looks, money, and status. Well, one of those three is true, and I really hope you do tune in on Saturday. One of those three is true, but the other two aren't. In this case, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, true. They don't give us a chance most of the time. That's the point I'm making, Mikey. I had a woman I spoke with over the course of this past summer that and this is just to show you how they don't have to do anything to be appealing. I spoke to her, and she admitted that she was sitting at her house, um, again in her own words, gaining weight and not doing the things that she wanted to do. Basically, just letting precious time go by. Um, Sitting at home. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, this woman broke my heart 600 days ago. I'm just gonna sit home and watch TV. Everyone on here, including people that call themselves my supporters, would say I was unattractive. That rather characteristic was unattractive, and you couldn't blame any woman for not wanting to talk to me because I had no drive to do anything. That would be your resolve. If I was doing what she was doing at that point, she could still be doing it for all I know. You would think very negatively of me, and I wouldn't have. some woman trying to say, "Oh, I want to talk to you," and then I tell her, "Oh, but we could talk for 2 years and it wouldn't matter." You wouldn't do that. Okay, very very true. But also, a lot of men fed their egos on social media. Yeah, I mean, you have go on any page on Instagram and you'll see what Envoy's talking about. Justice says girls that are four at best think they are 10 because of on social. Yeah. Okay, Matt B. Social media plays a big part in women's attentions today. PVS talks about why he deleted his accounts. Whales think they're attractive. They get plenty of attention or validation. William, look, and I. Okay, this is my pet peeve. People keep talking about these sex robots. The sex robot can't reproduce. The sex robot can't make you a meal during the day that will or keep your anything. Just there's so many things an actual person can do that a robot can't. So unless one of these robots can start reproducing, I don't want to hear it. We can start making some cyborgs. Um, what did Anthony? Okay, I was trying to read what Anthony had said. Yeah, but his comment really rang true because I've actually sat here and just, I mean, I've seen women that have personalities that just, I've heard other people talk about not even want to be in the room with them, and they always have a man, no matter how bad they are. They've had a man, they've been in some long term relationship, no matter what. I mean, I really one day just want people to wake up and realize from the day men are born to the current society, they have maybe there's some way of factoring that on average the success of a male when it comes to romance is when compared to a woman. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you're a man, you're supposed to approach. Well, you're a man, you're supposed to, do this and do that. And, the woman's supposed to just sit there and, wait for you to get all your stuff together and, have the option to just say no and, completely disregard you as a person. All of that is, something that people have subscribed to in the past. But I want there to just be a comprehensive list of what are the factors that go into the gender gap between both sexes when it comes to this topic. Um, we should even have. Okay, Justice says, imagine if we could. Yeah, but that's imagination. I want to actually see that before it becomes a suitable alternative. But yeah, I just think this whole thing is sad. Um, I thought a while, according to Oklahoma, so, yeah, the robot thing is, you guys can keep writing about that. I'm just going to finish this up. So, um, for a while, I was sad because I thought I would never meet someone of my ethnicity that was attracted back to me. Um, and after a while, it got even worse because I started thinking, well, maybe, no one of any group is going to, move beyond making rationales and justifications for themselves as to why this can't work. And I just sat there and became really saddened by something that I just hoped over and over again. If I just did this, if I just did that, would eventually switch over. Um, and I've accepted the things I cannot change. And look, I'll go out there and I'll talk to people. I'll be active on here. I'll write all this stuff. I'll do these videos. I'll go and work whatever positions I have. But as far as how someone else sees me, I can't make any change when it comes to that. Because whether we like to admit it or not, the woman you see at the grocery store or the woman you see in a film share the commonality, regardless of one being a celebrity and one not being one, of having a multitude of guys at her disposal. And that has caused the current era of out of wedlock children that are more likely to end up um, in jail or prison. That has caused the declining marriage rate. That has caused really every social ill conducive to just things people can control. And look, if I talk about it, I get chastised for it. But no matter how much you want to write off what I have to say as being just the opinion of some, reject that lived in the largest state in the union that couldn't get one of the women over there to actually give him a fair shake. You can't ignore those statistics. Those facts are real. I didn't make them. And think to yourself, if I am truly this outcast that has somehow managed to control his inner urges to the point of just speaking about it and not acting out in some level of aggression, as with many others that have felt the way I have, is what I'm saying really that wrong? If I can pull to you all these examples, we have all these people in this comment section saying, yes, this is difficult, this is hard. We're all just these beta males. Okay, Envoy says what's even funny is that the disadvantages a father will face supports the mother in most child support cases. Yeah, but the problem, Envoy, is that a lot of these mothers, prior to being mothers, are laying down with guys that off the premise of them looking physically attractive to them, they just jump in bed with. I when I do this story on Saturday, and I really am excited for it because it's going to show you just how ridiculous this has gotten. Which it involves people that males that didn't have any jobs were sitting up in jail that were able to just get out, and now someone's attracted to them. And look, automatically going to prison doesn't mean you're some awful horrible person that's irredeemable. But when you have nothing and then you're still able to just get someone who's in the case I'm going to tell you extreme. Okay, Envoy asks, how long do you plan to make the stream? That remains to be determined. I've got some stuff I want to quote. I have examples that I'm going to bring up. We'll find out. But if it's not a stream, it's going to be a regular video. I made this because I was just so frustrated. I felt satisfied to absolve myself off the fact that people have told me time and time again for the last year or so, approaching online is what causes you to have the problems that you do. And I go out there in the physical and approach, and you get the same thing. So that tells you it's not online that's causing this. So I felt vindicated. But thank you for watching. I have another video coming out today. It's another chapter of that book. It's almost finished at last. So have you seen all the news story about correlation? Yeah, that also goes together. Okay, so I'll see you later. Thank you for watching.